What's happening, everybody? Coming to you here off the Mike Sports Network. Guards thoughts after Game One of the American League Wild Card Series between the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians. Um, Not really a shock. This was a pretty, pitching and I guess defense game. You could say the Tigers win 2-1. I fully expected walking into this game that this was going to be a challenge for the Guardians to pull this off against Tarek Skubal, a guy who they had basically beaten twice in the last 2 weeks. And Tarek Skubal went out there and 7+ innings, seven and a third, I think it was 7 2/3, and throws over 100 pitches, 14 strikeouts, and the Guardians lose 2-1. And the shame in all of this is it's not like they got beaten by the home run. It's not like they got beaten by singles and stuff. Gavin Williams did a really good job. He pitched into the 7th inning. And but where this got lost was Jonathan Rodriguez, 2 out after the first two go down on 2 pitches for Gavin Williams. Routine single to the outfield by Kerry Carpenter, gets mishandled by Jonathan Rodriguez, who's on this roster because of injuries and a lot of other stuff going on the team. And for whatever reason, he's hitting cleanup. I give him credit. He hit a 2-run home run against Texas over the weekend. But this guy's been a minor league player for most of the season, so it's like you're relying on him. He can't field the ball in the outfield cleanly. Leads to Kerry Carpenter getting to second base, and then Spencer Torkelson puts him in. And that was the first run. And then in the 7th inning, a smash shot off of Brian Rocchio, or I forgot where it was. It was in between second and first. And John Kenzie Noel has to get to the bag, and he can't get his foot. And this is multiple times that John Kenzie Noel, Big Christmas, is not able to keep his foot on the bag just to hold it while trying to field the ball, because this is a converted outfielder. So those are the 2 runs. And then it was a sacrifice bunt with 1 out that ultimately led to the second run of the game. And then Jose Ramirez gets on third after, running out, and then, an error going past the first baseman, and he ends up on third with nobody out to lead off the 9th inning. And then he doesn't score because there was a chopper by Kyle Manzardo, and Manzo just, made contact. Jose's charging home. Gets caught in between because Will Vest made a good play, and he gets tagged out. And ultimately, CJ Kafis, next pitch, story of the season, they don't grind out at bats, flies out, and the game's over. So a lot of ways I could go with this, but one thing I'm not going to have, and I've seen multiple media people, some of whom I have a ton of respect for, actually blaming Jose Ramirez for this defeat, and because he could not get home in the 9th inning. The only reason you're in that spot is because he hustled his ass over there. The fact you couldn't get him in is a problem. And it's not his fault that he's playing guards ball and being aggressive and trying to score on contact. First guy, George Valera, who you brought up there, struck out. Second guy, Kyle Manzardo, hits a ball on the ground, trying to get it over the pitcher. And Will Vest, to his credit, it's hard for me to give the Tigers credit because I'm supposed to hate them. Will Vest made a great play fielding that ball and immediately charging over and got Jose caught in between, and it ultimately led to him being tagged out. And that was basically the game. But this game was lost in the 1st and 7th innings. Let's not kid ourselves. You have borderline major league players. This is the story of their season. Like they haven't been able to functionally have a roster, and these lineups have been a running joke in Guardians fandom. Like, we looked at this, like, we were all excited about Chase DeLauder, the rookie, they're one of their top prospects. He didn't even get into this game because, hey, Jonathan Rodriguez and John Kenzie Noel need to play because you're facing a left-handed pitcher in Tarek Skubal. Let's be real here. Jose Ramirez in the 9th inning, that was a gift. That was a gift. And I understand that you have to value being on third base and you never want to make that out trying to go home. It was do or die there. He had to go on contact and try and risk it. And then the fact that, the Tigers did fundamentals and that's how you beat guards ball, is you play the fundamentals and you play it perfectly. The Guardians, who have been doing this for basically a month, had 2 really basic errors that major league players should not be able to make. Jonathan Rodriguez, listen, the guy's there pretty much because David Fry is effectively out for the season. John Kenzie Noel, first of all, like I understand Big Christmas, like, he's got a lot of power. He can swing a big bat. He obviously has that memorable moment from last year in the American League Championship Series, and he has some good history against School. We had a home run off of him earlier this year. You can't, first of all, he's an outfielder. He was even listed on the roster as an outfielder. Why is he playing first base? Why is he playing first base? Tell me that. And then, he can't fundamentally clean it. So John Kenzie Noel, he can't play. I don't care. I don't care if it's a lefty or righty. I do not care. Have CJ Kafis play. He's been playing better. I understand lefty on lefty is kind of a little bit of a deal, and this won't be an issue, at least for, games 2 and 3 of this series, if they're able to get past and get to game 3, because I think it's going to be Jack Flaherty, the former Dodger, and Casey Mize, who's one of their top pitchers. The Guardians are capable of winning this series. They knew walking in that because Boston lost on Saturday, that they were going to probably end up facing the Tigers. And if they faced the Tigers, they were going to have to face Tarek Skubal. And they don't have a lot of good history against them. They got a couple of gifts the last 2 weeks. But if you're going to point the finger at anybody, it is not, obviously the bats haven't woken up. And, hey, you have to manufacture stuff like that. And, hey, they got outguards. They absolutely got outguards ball. And I give credit to the Tigers, who have been floundering through the month of September. They played the fundamentals. They have a championship level manager in AJ Hinch, whether you want to believe they cheated or not in Houston. A lot of people do. He still won a championship there. He's been around the block. Like, this was one of the best teams in baseball for most of the season. What did you expect was going to happen? But the thing that breaks my heart is a team that prides itself on the fundamentals and prides itself on, making all the right plays and being clean and playing clean baseball. 2 errors is what lost them this game. It's not a base running mistake by Jose Ramirez. Come on. Guys, I played baseball. I haven't played baseball in years. I know that the one thing, especially when you have a man on third base, is you're going on contact. You are going on contact no matter what it is. Jose Ramirez had it made up in his mind that he was going to run to go home whatever happened with that ball. It was in play. It had a tricky hop, and Will Vest got it. He got it. He ran over and tagged him on the third base side. That's what happens. Jose Ramirez is the only reason that you guys are in this spot, because this roster is 50 feet of crap. So, listen, we knew walking into the series and we knew walking into the playoffs that, hey, what they had done over the last, month or so, it wasn't going to cut it, especially against, what might be the back-to-back Cy Young Award winner. But like I said, it just kills me that, hey, they tie this game on a guards ball play where they get a runner home, but then, Skubal just pitches into the 8th inning and you can't get anything off of him. And a couple opportunities, you had a runner on second base in the 8th inning. You had a runner on third base in the 9th inning, and you couldn't get either one of them home. But it's not for a lack of trying. Like, come on. What'd you guys expect Jose Ramirez to do when that ball was hit on the ground by Manzardo? What'd you expect you want Jose to just stand there at third base when a ball's in play? What'd you expect him to do? Like, I understand you guys want to be miserable after a loss. Blame the manager. Blame the front office for not fielding a team. This team has overachieved massively since the early portions of July. So be grateful that they're there. It obviously sucks that they lost. They got to win 2 in a row, but this is what they have done for the second half of the season, is come back. They came back and beat the Tigers to get this series at home. Now they got to win 2 more. You knew that this was going to be an uphill climb. You didn't get this game. Now you got to get 2 at home in order to go to Seattle. And all you got to focus on is winning the game tomorrow. That's all you got to focus on. So it is what it is, man. It wasn't going to be easy. This is playoff baseball. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.